Hey, what's up guys? I'm Shane Peterson and this is Off the Rip. We're going to be talking about Arlington Supercross, so let's get into it. So there were definitely some wild moments from AT&T Stadium. The biggest one that we saw was Austin Forkner hitting the deck. I think he got hit harder than any Dallas Cowboy has ever been hit in AT&T Stadium. That was brutal, it was vicious. He went flying off the bike, straight to the concrete. Probably one of the biggest hits in motocross history, honestly. On the other hand, we've been anticipating it. We've been wondering if it was gonna happen when Haiden Deegan won his first Supercross, and he does it. He ghost rode the whip. Moving on to Hardy Munoz, I'm convinced this dude just duct tapes his hand to the throttle because he did not let off when things went bad for him. In the rhythm section, he still jumps even though he makes a huge mistake. When he gets punted by Poppy, he still stayed on the gas, jumping into the other lane. So he's a savage. But speaking of savages, Eli Tomac going beast mode. And we got a light of that because in his heat race, he threw a nasty scrub over the triple when he was trying to get around Aaron Plessinger. And then Jet crashes in the main event, giving the lead to Cooper Webb, allowing him to become a 6-time winner at AT&T Stadium. So he's Mr. 6-time. So let's move on to some Rocky Mountain fantasy picks. I'm not mad about this one. I got one right at least, and I scored about, 45 points. So doing good. Dropped down to, I think last week I was 14,000, maybe went up 20,000. Now I'm back down to 12,900 something. So I'm not mad about it, but the ones that I picked, the guy who I thought was gonna win because he needed to, the time was now. We saw it in qualifying that he was fast, and that was Eli Tomac. Based on his riding, when I saw him in qualifying too, they put a clip on him, is when he turned his fast lap. I said, dude, he's doing it tonight. Like, I honestly think he was supposed to win. Like, just how all my picks went down, I thought it was gonna go like this. But, you know, obviously he had a bad start and he came back from 17th, going beast mode to get to second. He's been needing to get a win. It was round 7, and in 7 races, he hasn't gotten a win. So he was definitely due for one. And I felt like when they interviewed him during Race Day Live, he said, oh yeah, pressure's on, you know, I gotta do it, I gotta bounce back. And based on how he was last year, like whenever he needs to do it, he does it, like he gets it done. But he got second place. Who I thought was gonna get second place was Jet Lawrence. I thought Jet, you know, his starts have been iffy, so maybe he would get a bad start, end up in second, and fight his way through the pack to get to second, or you know, something would just happen where he wouldn't get a win, or you know, he would think the pace is too fast that Tomac's doing. I don't know, because Jet's fast. I don't think he would do that, but you know, maybe he'll just settle for a second. But no, he goes down. He was leading, goes down. So it makes you think, was he feeling the pressure from Cooper Webb? Who knows? Maybe just a silly mistake, rookie mistake. But speaking of Webb, had him third. I knew he was going to podium. It's Dallas. He loves Dallas. He loves racing there. But I just didn't think he was going to have more speed than Jet or Tomac. He even said it himself, he was not stoked on his riding in qualifying. And I knew he would still turn up during the race, but you know, his speed wouldn't be there. And so he would get past, or he would at least make it hard for them to get around him if he got a good start. But yeah, man, he got the win. Mr. 6-time. Moving on to my 4th place pick, I had Chase Sexton. Very quick in practice. He did really well there last year. He was actually hunting Webb down. Well, it was a Triple Crown, but he does well in Arlington, but he does have that hand injury. And I knew that was going to be a factor throughout the main event, especially with how the track was. Super rutted, super, you need to hold on tight, so that was going to be a factor for Chase, where the other guys who are 100% could probably capitalize off that if he got a good start. But he didn't. He ends up 6th. Moving on to my 5th place was Jason Anderson, with all the other guys just being on it and him not qualifying up at the top, where normally when he qualifies up at the top, he does good, he ends up on the podium, and he's gotten a lot of podiums in Arlington. But this time I was like, he's probably not gonna be as good, but since he does good in Arlington, he'll find himself in 5th place. But that wasn't the case. He ended up 10th, came around the finish line on the first lap in last place. So not much that he could do from there. I mean, I knew he was not gonna come back to 5th, but came back to 10th. And the one I'm super stoked on though, is that I got the wild card, baby, was Dean Wilson. He gets 13th. I saw him there at the beginning of the main, and I'm like, that'd be great if he just can stay there. And yeah, he ended up staying there. I didn't even want to look at that. I was honestly just watching Eli Tomac just go full beast mode and just watch greatness happen. So anyway, those are my picks. And yeah, I feel like next week I'm going to Daytona. Got some momentum going. Feel good about my wild card pick. And I feel like Tomac, I'm just getting warm. I'm just getting warmed up. That's it. I'm just getting warmed up. All right, man, let's talk about some 250s. Ooh, I thought it was gonna be a chill, uneventful race. We saw just, and it didn't. It turned out danger struck, literally, for Austin Forkner. He was on it though. His riding, he was definitely the fastest, I feel like, in Arlington and during that race. He would just got around Deegan like nothing. Maybe Deegan had a poor line choice, but it ended up actually helping Deegan later on in the main event. But you gotta think, did Austin Forkner crash because of the pressure from Deegan? Or it could have been what I just saw on Instagram, was that his dad said that his contact lens fell out. And I wear contacts, so that can definitely play a factor, because whenever you have one out, things just look off. And we could see the mistakes, and it makes sense. It adds up, because he started just make tiny little mistakes, clip things, and you're like, a mistake is coming for sure. With Austin Forkner growing, being more mature, this was a test for him to see, could he come out of this victorious, or is he going to buckle to pressure like he has in years past? And he ends up, going down. So could have been a mix of things. Could have been the mix of the pressure and the contact lens. Could have just been the contact lens. Who knows? But that was just a wild, vicious crash that he took. But moving on to Deegan, gets his first win, ghost rides the whip. So now with him racing, or him winning, he's now 7 points down from the championship. Those guys in front of him seem like they finished very inconsistent. So I'm sure he's gonna go past them in Daytona. So, you gotta think, who's gonna be in this championship? Is it gonna be Deegan versus Anstey, or Deegan versus McAdoo? McAdoo has supposedly a hurt knee, so we'll see if he can heal up and they can duke it out. But yeah, this is just a bummer for the 250 class, because now I feel like it's going to be Deegan's championship to lose. But it really would have been cool to watch Deegan and Forkner just duke it out to the very end, especially with Deegan having that huge loss of points from Detroit and trying to come back from that. That was just going to be a good story, and that was just going to be exciting to watch, throughout the whole 250 season, or the East Coast. So that's all I have for today. I'm just excited for Daytona, man. It's exciting for the 450 class, because things to look at is Is Webb gonna get redemption this year and beat Tomac? Is Lawrence gonna show Tomac, you know, how it's similar to motocross. So, and he had an amazing outdoor season. He went 22-0. So he's gonna be quick. Or is Tomac gonna get his 8th win in Daytona and his first win of the season? So it's exciting, man. It's gonna be so good to watch in Daytona. So yeah, I can't wait to talk about it next week, and I'll see you guys next week to talk about Daytona. Peace.